So the next question is the incorrect statement about the electrical synapses. Now before moving to the options, I want to tell you the two kinds of synapses present in the body. We have two kinds of synapses present in the body. One is electrical synapse and the second one is chemical synapse. Now most of the synapses present in the body are chemical synapse, and electrical synapse, they are present but they are very rare. So this one is rare and this one is most of the synapses. Now in case of an electrical synapse, the two neurons are positioned very close to each other. So they are connected by gap junctions. So the nerve impulse directly transmits from one neuron to another neuron without the requirement of a neurotransmitter. So they do not require neurotransmitter. No neurotransmitter required. Whereas in the case of chemical synapse, as the name suggests, chemical synapse, that is they use a chemical in the synapse to transfer the information, and that chemical is neurotransmitter. So they use neurotransmitters. Now, since in the case of electrical synapse, the information is directly transmitted in the form of electrical impulse, so this method of transmission is faster as compared to that of chemical synapse. So this method is faster and this is slow as compared to the electrical synapse. So now we'll read the options. The first option says that the neurotransmitter released from the presynaptic membrane binds to the receptor of the postsynaptic membrane. They are asking us about the electrical synapse. So in electrical synapse, there is no neurotransmitter. So this is an incorrect option. And they are asking us about the incorrect statement. So this is the correct option. Next question. Which of the following correctly describes the function of FSH in females? Now they are asking the role of FSH in females. FSH is follicular stimulating hormone, and this hormone is released by pituitary gland. It results in the growth and development of follicles in females. Now the first option is it stimulates growth and development of the ovarian follicles, which is absolutely correct. It induces ovulation of fully mature follicles and maintains the corpus luteum. Now when we talk about maintenance of the corpus luteum, it is done by another hormone which is called HCG, human chorionic gonadotropin. So this is an incorrect statement. Third is it stimulates the synthesis and secretion of hormones called androgens from testes. And the question is asking about females, so this option is incorrect. Fourth, it regulates spermatogenesis. Now, spermatogenesis is a process of formation of sperms. And since in the question it is mentioned females, again this is a incorrect option. So, the first option is the correct answer. Next question. How many of the given statements are true? It is asking about the correct statement. First, pars nervosa stores and releases two hormones called oxytocin and vasopressin. Now, pars nervosa is posterior pituitary, and we know that posterior pituitary stores and releases both oxytocin and vasopressin. So, this is a correct option. Melatonin influences the menstrual cycle. Now, what is melatonin? Melatonin is a hormone which is released by the pineal gland. It controls our sleep cycle, and in females it also controls the menstrual cycle, that is the frequency of the menstrual cycle. So it can influence the menstrual cycle, which is correct. Now calcitonin stimulates reabsorption of calcium by the renal tubules. Now what is calcitonin? Again, calcitonin is a hormone which is released from the C cells in the thyroid gland. These cells are parafollicular cells. Calcitonin along with parathyroid hormone maintain the calcium level in the blood. Now calcitonin decreases the calcium level in the blood, but here it is mentioned that it stimulates the reabsorption of calcium, so it is an incorrect statement. After ovulation, the ruptured follicle is converted into macula lutea. Now macula lutea is a structure that is present in the eye of humans, so this is also an incorrect option. So they are asking how many of the given statements are correct. So the first and the second option are correct, so we will go with the third option, that is 2 statements are correct. Next question, the enzyme missing in phenylketonuria is. Now phenylketonuria is a genetic disease in which there is a mutation in a gene that is responsible for the enzyme called phenylalanine hydroxylase. Phenylalanine hydroxylase. Now this enzyme converts or breaks down phenylalanine, which is an amino acid. Now because this enzyme is absent, so there is an accumulation of phenylalanine in the central nervous system. So the answer is phenylalanine hydroxylase. Next question, which of the following biological phenomenon involves a bacteriophage? Now what is a bacteriophage? A bacteriophage is a virus that affects a bacteria. Now there is a biological process in bacteria which is called transduction. In transduction, what happens is, at the bacteriophage that attacks a bacteria takes some genetic material of that bacteria and transfers that genetic material into another bacteria. So it is a method of gene transfer that occurs with the help of bacteriophage. This method is commonly called transduction. So fourth option, transduction, is the correct answer. Now they are asking, blind sac body plan is found in the members of. Before going to the options, we will discuss what blind sac body plan is. Blind sac body plan is a body plan in which the body is like a sac. So the body is like a sac and it has only one opening. It is a blind sac, that means the body has only one opening. Now this single opening acts as a mouth as well as an anus, that is, it is the opening from which the organism takes in food and leaves the excreta out. Now this type of body plan is seen in Coelenterata and Platyhelminthes. So the fourth option is the correct option. Now this question is asking that which of the following sets of characteristics are found in phylum Echinodermata. Now the term echino means spiny and dermata means skin. So they are spiny skin animals. Now first option, presence of water vascular system and indirect development of larva, which is correct because in Echinodermata there is a characteristic feature which is the water vascular system. Now this water vascular system is present in their body which circulates the fluid, helps in respiration and all the other metabolic processes. So it is a characteristic feature of Echinodermata. And there is an indirect development of sexual reproduction seen in sexual reproduction, that is, the embryo first develops into a larva and then into an adult. So there is, the embryo does not directly develops into an adult, there is a stage in between which is called a larval stage. So this type of development is called indirect development. So this is the correct option. Now if we still read the rest options, it is saying bilaterally symmetrical and acoelomate. Echinodermata are not bilaterally symmetrical. The adults in Echinodermata are radially symmetrical. So this option is incorrect. Reproduction is asexual and fertilization is internal. They have sexual reproduction, so this is also an incorrect option. Presence of water vascular system with a well-developed excretory system. Now when we talk about a well-developed excretory system, it is not present in Echinodermata. Echinodermata release their body waste directly into water in the form of ammonia. So a well-developed excretory system is absent in Echinodermata. So again this option is incorrect. So our first option is the correct answer. Now the Montreal Protocol has been introduced to. Now the Montreal Protocol was introduced and signed in 1987. It was introduced to lower the pollutants that result in ozone layer depletion. So if we read our options, the first option says check depletion of ozone layer, which is absolutely correct. In the next question is asking the angiosperms, the endosperm is. Now what is endosperm? Endosperm is a tissue that helps in, or that's function of the tissue is to provide nourishment to the growing embryo. Now if its function is to provide nourishment to the growing embryo, it will be formed after fertilization. So let us read the options. Short-lived, persistent female gametophyte, formed before fertilization and formed after fertilization. So fourth option is the correct option. Now next question, a large quantity of monoclonal antibodies are produced from. Now monoclonal antibodies, we all know antibodies are formed in our body to fight the antigens. Now these antibodies are produced by B lymphocytes in our body, but they are asking about monoclonal antibodies. What are monoclonal antibodies? So these monoclonal, that is, they arise from a single clone of cells. Single clone of cells. These antibodies arise from a single clone of cells and are very antigen specific. That is, they act against a specific antigen. They are antigen specific. These antibodies are produced in the laboratory. They are lab made. And they are produced by something known as hybridoma cells. What are hybridoma cells? When the B cells are combined with a group of tumor cells, because tumor cells multiply very fast. So when these B cells are combined with tumor cells, we can produce antibodies at a faster rate. So hybridoma cells are what? B cells plus tumor cells. So in this process, what happens is an antigen is introduced into a rat. An antigen, the antigen of which we require the antibodies, is introduced into the rat, and when the rat body produces the antibodies, the B cells of the rat are taken out from the liver of the rat and they are combined with the hybridoma cells to produce monoclonal antibodies, which are then injected in the patient who requires those antibodies. So hybridoma cells is the answer. So we can produce a large quantity because these are combined with tumor cells that have a faster rate of multiplication. Next question is, gel electrophoresis is used for. The word gel electrophoresis. It is a technique in which a gel, also commonly agarose gel, is used to separate the fragments of DNA according to the molecular size. And electricity is passed through that gel, which separates the charged DNA molecules according to the molecular size. So first option is cutting of the DNA into fragments. No. Separation of DNA fragments according to their size. Yes. So this process is used for the separation of DNA fragments according to their molecular size. Now, which of the following is a common pathway in both aerobic and anaerobic respiration? Now, aerobic respiration is the respiration that requires oxygen, and anaerobic respiration is the respiration in which there is no requirement of oxygen. But there is a step during these reactions, during the respiration process, that is common to both. That step takes place in the cytoplasm of mitochondria, and that step involves the breakdown of glucose into pyruvic acid. Now this step, or the first step of respiration, this step takes place in the cytoplasm of mitochondria, because we all know that mitochondria is the site for cellular respiration. So the cytoplasm of the mitochondria now, since glucose is broken down to pyruvic acid and energy is produced, breakdown of glucose, that is lysis of glucose, is called glycolysis. This step is glycolysis. This step does not require oxygen. Therefore, it is a common step or a common pathway between both anaerobic and aerobic respiration. Now, in this question, we have to select the mismatch, that is, the options that are wrongly matched among the following. Now, first is chondrichthyes and placoid scale. Now, what are chondrichthyes? Chondrichthyes are basically fishes which have an endoskeleton made up of cartilage. That is why chondrichthyes. Now, these fishes have placoid scales all over their body. Placoid scales are tooth-like scales. So, they are present all over their body. So, this is a correct option, correctly matched. The second option is columba with diaphragm. Now, what is columba? Columba is basically pigeon. So, it's a bird. And diaphragm is a muscular structure which is found in vertebrates, mammals. So, it is a characteristic feature of mammals. So, it is an mismatched option. So, this is our correct option. The next question is the genus of chiton, which is a mollusk, is. The genus of chiton, if you have revised, the genus of chiton is Chaetopleura. Now, the next question is asking the mucosa of the stomach is lined with. Now, the mucosa of the stomach, every internal organ is lined with a kind of epithelium, and the type of epithelium depends upon the function it has to perform. Now, when we talk about cuboidal epithelium is present wherein it has to secrete and absorb. So, in case of stomach, it is lined by cuboidal epithelium. But what kind of cuboidal epithelium? Cuboidal epithelium can be simple cuboidal epithelium, that is non-glandular, and it can be glandular, in which the epithelium invaginates, the cuboidal epithelium invaginates to form structures that are called glands. So, this type of epithelium is called glandular epithelium. Cuboidal epithelium. And we know that in stomach these glands are present which release the digestive juices and enzymes that help in digestion of food. So, the option is glandular simple cuboidal epithelium. Now, the next question is, in rotifers, syngamy is absent. Which mode of reproduction is observed in these organisms instead? Now, rotifers are basically microscopic animals. Now, syngamy. What is syngamy? Syn means fusion and gamy means gametes. So, in these organisms, fusion of gametes do not occur during sexual reproduction. Then they are asking what type of reproduction is then present instead. So, there is a type of reproduction which is called parthenogenesis. In this type of reproduction, what happens is that the embryo is formed from an unfertilized female egg. That is, the fusion of the male and the female gamete is not required for the formation of a new organism. This type of reproduction is called parthenogenesis and is commonly seen in rotifers. Now, all the three other types which are given in the option, apomixis, apospory and polyembryony, are types of reproduction which is seen in plants. So, these options are incorrect. Next question, in which of the following locations are sacred groves found? Now, what are sacred groves? As the name suggests, they are sacred. So, they are the patches of forest or an ecosystem that is protected by a local community residing there because of some religious or cultural significance. Now, they can be seen all over the world. Let's read the options. Khasi and Jaintia Hills in Meghalaya, Aravali Hills of Rajasthan and Sarguja Chanda Bastar district of Madhya Pradesh. All three of them are sacred groves and they are protected by the local communities residing there. So, all of them, fourth option, all of the above is the correct option. Now, which set of evolutionary stages of humans were discovered before ape man? Now, they are asking what were the species of evolutionary stages of humans seen before ape man. When they are talking about ape man, they actually are referring to hominids of the genus hominids. So they are referring to the genus Hominids. Now if we see the development evolutionary stages, the first one we can see is Dryopithecus. After Dryopithecus was Ramapithecus. After Ramapithecus was Australopithecus. After Australopithecus was Homo habilis. Then Homo erectus. Homo sapiens fossilis. Homo sapiens fossilis. And then from here Homo sapiens, sapiens are the present humans. Homo sapiens, sapiens. Now if we see, the genus Hominid starts from here, from Homo habilis. The genus Homo starts from here. Now before Homo habilis, we can see three types of evolutionary stages: Dryopithecus, Ramapithecus and Australopithecus. Now let's see the options. Now the stages of humans before ape men were Dryopithecus and Ramapithecus. So the first option is the correct option. Now the next question is, phloem sap is mainly composed of. Now we know that phloem is a type of vascular bundle present in plants. Along with xylem, it helps in transportation. Xylem transports water in the plant and phloem transport food in the form of sucrose. And sucrose is always transported along with some amount of water, which helps in its transport. So together sucrose and water are called sap. So the phloem sap is made up of water and sucrose. So first option is our correct option. Next question. Which of the following muscles are known to be involuntary, branched and striated? Now they are asking which muscles are involuntary. Involuntary muscles are those that are not in our control. So we can cut this option out. Skeletal muscles. Skeletal muscles are the muscles present in our limbs. So they are completely in our control. So we can cut this option out. Then they are asking branched and striated. If we draw the structure of smooth muscles are spindle shaped, pointed and unbranched, whereas cardiac muscles, if we draw them, are branched and they are striated. So they are asking involuntary, branched and striated. So this matches with our third option, the cardiac muscle. Now in this question they are asking which of the following is a substitution of mitochondria in E. coli. Now firstly we have to understand what is the function of mitochondria in eukaryotes. The function of mitochondria in eukaryotes is cellular respiration. Now they are asking which of the following is similar to mitochondria in function in E. coli. E. coli is a bacteria, so it's a prokaryote. We all know that in prokaryotes there are no organelles present. So mitochondria is not present in the prokaryotes or any other organelle is not present. So which structure performs a similar function to mitochondria? Now let us go to the options. First is ribosome, second is mesosome, third is glyoxysome and fourth is Golgi body. Now mesosome, what is mesosome? The plasma membrane of the bacteria invaginates to form a structure which is called mesosome. Now this sac-like structure, the function of this mesosome is to help in cell division as well as cellular respiration. So mesosome is basically not an organelle, it is an invagination of the plasma membrane of the bacteria which helps in cellular respiration. So it is like a substitute to mitochondria in E. coli. So this is the correct option. Now which of the following amino acid is coded by only a single codon? Now what is a codon? Codon is a sequence of DNA, sequence of 3 nucleotides which code for a amino acid. Now a single codon, if there is a single codon, codes for only one amino acid, but one amino acid can be coded by different codons. So this amino acid can be coded by codon 1, codon 2, codon 3. But in the question they are asking that which of the following amino acid is coded by only a single codon. So in our body, there are 2 amino acids that are coded only by a single codon. They are methionine and tryptophan. So let us see the options. Tyrosine, phenylalanine, isoleucine and tryptophan. So tryptophan is the correct option. You can also write that methionine is also one such amino acid. So tryptophan and methionine both are produced by or coded by a single codon. The next question is destruction of chlorophyll, premature falling of leaves and yellowing of leaf is caused due to excess of. Now all these are damaging the plant. Destruction of chlorophyll, that will result in a decrease in the rate of photosynthesis. Premature falling of leaves, that is wilting of leaves, and yellowing of leaves. This all are damaging effects of a pollutant, and that pollutant is sulfur dioxide. So excess of sulfur dioxide will result in all these 3 symptoms in plants. Now the next question, which is of the following is correct about the anal cerci in a cockroach? Now what is an anal cerci? An anal cerci is a paired appendage. It is a paired appendage, paired appendages that arise from the 10th segment of the cockroach. So it arises from the 10th segment of the cockroach. Now what is the function of anal cerci? The function of anal cerci is that it is a sensory structure. So it senses the vibrations. And it is present in both male cockroach and female cockroach. Present in both the sexes. Now let us read the options. First, they are saying that they emerge out of the 10th segment in both the sexes. So it is correct. Found in male cockroaches only, incorrect. These are short thread-like structures, incorrect. They are paired appendages. And these are used for the purpose of reproduction. No, they are not used for reproduction. They are sensory structures. So the first option is the correct option. Which of the following structure is composed of cuboidal epithelium that contains microvilli? Now they are asking which of these structures are lined by cuboidal epithelium that has microvilli also. Cuboidal epithelium that has microvilli. So the function of microvilli is why is basically microvilli present on cuboidal epithelium? To increase the surface area for absorption. So we can see most of the absorption takes place in the proximal convoluted tubule of nephrons. So the microvilli along with cuboidal epithelium is present in PCT of the nephron, that is proximal convoluted tubule. That is because glomerulus, the function of glomerulus is basically filtration. So it is made up of flat cells. Ducts of the gland there is no absorption in the ducts of the gland. So there is no use of microvilli over the cuboidal epithelium in this. And PCT is the site where maximum absorption, reabsorption takes place in the kidney. So microvilli with cuboidal epithelium is present in PCT. Now which substance is incorrectly matched with its mode of absorption in the gut? See, all these nutrients are absorbed in the gut and they are asking what type of absorption or what mode of absorption is incorrectly matched. Now firstly we have to understand what are these terms: active absorption, simple diffusion and facilitated transport. Now when we talk about simple diffusion Simple diffusion is a process wherein substances move from their higher concentration to their lower concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. Now, since they are moving from higher to lower concentration, they do not require energy. So, it's a passive process and only small molecules can pass through this. Okay. Then we talk about active absorption. In case of active absorption, the substances move from their lower concentration to their higher concentration against the concentration gradient through a semi-permeable membrane. So, this requires use of energy. So, it is active transport. In case of facilitated transport, they are facilitated. That means they cannot directly pass through the membrane. They require some carrier proteins that help these substances to pass through the membrane. Now, facilitated transport is also passive because the transportation takes place from their higher concentration to their lower concentration. So, there is no requirement of energy. The transportation is down the concentration gradient and facilitated transport. So, option is sodium active transport. True, sodium is transported actively. Most of the glucose is actively transported or absorbed. Chloride is also by simple diffusion. Now, they are asking most of the amino acid by facilitated transport. No, most of the amino acid are absorbed by active transport. So, this is the incorrect option. So, this is our answer because they are asking the incorrectly matched. Now, which of the following is correct for the mRNA or the messenger RNA synthesis in the leukocytes? Now, how is mRNA synthesized? DNA, the message of the DNA is transferred or read in the form of RNA, and then this RNA is used for the production of proteins. This process from changing of DNA to RNA is called transcription, and this process of formation of proteins from RNA is called translation. Now, RNA that is formed is the pre-RNA that is formed has both exons and introns. Now, what are these exons and introns? Exons are the nucleotides that code for a particular protein, and introns do not code for any proteins. They are the segment of DNA that do not code for any proteins, and they are present in between these exons. So, there is a process called splicing in which these introns are removed from the pre-mRNA and only the exons are left. So, that type of mRNA is mature mRNA. Now, let's read the options. Exons and introns do not appear in mature RNA, which is incorrect. Exons have to be there because they code for proteins. Exons appear, but introns do not appear in the mature RNA, which is the correct option. Exons are present in mature RNA, but introns are spliced from the pre-RNA, resulting in mature RNA. So, introns are not present in mature RNA. Now, the next question. In the larynx, which of the following is a thin elastic cartilaginous flap? Now, larynx or the voice box leads to trachea, which is the windpipe. The entrance of the trachea is called glottis. Now, glottis is covered by a thin cartilaginous flap, which is called epiglottis, that is above the glottis. That flap prevents the entry of food into the windpipe during swallowing. So, a thin elastic cartilaginous flap is epiglottis. If we even see the rest of the options, thyroid is a gland that we all know, sound box is larynx itself, and glottis is the opening. So, cartilaginous flap is epiglottis. The spinal cord passes through which of the following vertebral structures? Now, the spinal cord passes through a hollow space between all the vertebrae. The vertebrae are hollow in the center and together they form a canal. When they are stacked one above the other, they form a canal. That canal is called the vertebral canal, which provides space for the passage of spinal cord. The vertebral canal is also known as neural canal. So the first option, neural canal or the vertebral canal, is the correct option. Which of the following disorders have a karyotype of 47 chromosomes, that is XXY? That is, there is an extra X chromosome in the male. Now this is a condition in which it is a condition of genetic disease in which there is an extra X chromosome in the male. So if there is an extra X chromosome in the male, there will be some feminine characters in the male, like gynecomastia, that is development of breast. There will be low production of sperms, low to no production of sperms. Now that condition is called Klinefelter syndrome. This is a syndrome in which the 47 chromosomes are present, that is 46 plus 1 extra X chromosome. In sickle cell anemia, the glutamic acid is replaced by valine. Which one of the following triplets goes for valine? Now, sickle cell anemia is a disease in which there is a mutation in a single base pair of the beta globin chain in the hemoglobin, in which the code coding for glutamic acid is replaced to another code that codes for valine. It results in RBCs that are sickle shaped. So this disease, the glutamic acid, instead of glutamic acid, valine is produced. So there is a change in a single base. GAG codes for glutamic acid, which the A changes to U, GUG, which codes for valine. So they are asking the following triplets codes for valine. So they are asking the code for valine, which is GUG. So this is our correct option. Now distance between the genes and the percentage recombination shows. Now if the genes are placed closer in a chromosome, they are less likely to be recombined and more likely to be linked together. So if they are asking the distance between the genes and the percentage of recombination, the more the distance between gene, the more are the chances of recombination. So therefore there is a direct relationship. In the same question, if they ask about linkage, then the answer will be there is an indirect relationship, because closer the genes, more are the chances of linkage. Now in human brain, the cerebral aqueduct passes through. What is cerebral aqueduct? It is a conduit of cerebrospinal fluid, that is, it carries the CSF or the cerebrospinal fluid from the third ventricle in the brain to the fourth ventricle. So it is present in the midbrain. So midbrain is the correct option. Now which set of animals are included under protochordates? Now what are protochordates? Protochordates are animals in which notochord is present, but it is not converted into vertebral column. Now protochordates are also of two types: urochordates and cephalochordates. In urochordates, uro means tail. So the notochord is only present in the tail, that too of a larva. So tail is notochord is present in the larval tail. And in cephalochordates, cephalo means head. So the notochord is present from head to toe. The examples of protochordata, let's see the options: Salpa, Doliolum and Branchiostoma. All these three animals are examples of Protochordatas. The first option is the correct option. Now, racemose inflorescence is observed in the family. Now, inflorescence is the arrangement of the flowers, inflorescence, flowers on a axis. Now, in case of racemose inflorescence, what happens is the axis continuously grows and never terminates into a flower. The terminus of the axis is not, the flower is not present on the terminus of the axis. The flowers grow like this. So, the old one is here, the first one, then the second, third and fourth. This type of inflorescence is called racemose inflorescence, and this is seen in the family of Fabaceae. These are the families of leguminous plants, so the legumes, like for example pea plant. Next question. The stem with bicollateral vascular bundles and flowers with synandrous condition is found in. Now they are asking two things, a stem with bicollateral vascular bundles and flowers with synandrous conditions. Now what are bicollateral vascular bundles? Bicollateral vascular bundles are vascular bundles in which a phloem is present on either side of the xylem, that is in the center, xylem is present, phloem is present on either side. This is a bicollateral vascular bundle. And what are flowers with synandrous condition? Now syn means fusion. Androus refers to the male reproductive structures. Male reproductive structures. So, male reproductive structures in angiosperms are stamens. So, they have fused stamens, and the stamens are fused all along, that is from the anther to the filament. Suppose this is the anther and the filament. So, the stamens are completely fused. So, this condition is called synandrous condition. Now, both these conditions are present in the plants Cucurbitaceae. Cucurbitaceae has both these conditions, that is bicollateral vascular bundles in the stem and flowers with synandrous condition. Now, which organ is responsible for the secretion of erythropoietin hormone? Now, what is erythropoietin hormone? It is a hormone that is responsible or activates the bone marrow cells to produce red blood cells. As the name suggests, erythro, that is red, poietin or poiesis, it results in erythropoiesis, that is the formation of the red blood cells. Now, this hormone is produced by the juxtaglomerular cells which are present in kidney. So, the answer is kidney. They are produced by the JG cells, the juxtaglomerular cells in the kidney. Now the next question. Which of the following is incorrect about spermatogenesis? Meiosis 1 leads to the formation of secondary spermatocytes. Meiosis 2 leads to the formation of spermatids. Production of one sperm and 3 polar bodies. And primary spermatocytes are diploid in nature. Now let us see the process first. There is a primary spermatocyte which is diploid in nature. It undergoes the first meiotic division to produce secondary spermatocyte. Secondary spermatocyte. Now, since they are produced after the first meiotic division, so they are haploid. Now, they further undergo the second meiotic division, meiosis 2, to produce 4 spermatids. and these spermatids then undergo or mature to form sperms. Now this is the entire process. Now let us see the options. Meiosis 1 leads to the formation of secondary spermatocyte. It is correct. Meiosis 2 leads to the formation of spermatids. Again correct. Production of 1 sperm and 3 polar bodies. No, this is incorrect. And primary spermatocytes are diploid in nature. As we have seen in the diagram, primary spermatocytes are diploid in nature. So the third option is incorrect, and we have to mark the incorrect option. Now this question is asking which taxonomical aid provides protection and identification of animals in an artificial habitat. Now you have to see the question. They provide protection and identification of animals. So if we read the options, museum, herbarium, zoological parks, also commonly called zoos, and botanical garden. Now herbarium and botanical garden, as the name suggests, are for plants. So these are the taxonomical aids for plants. Now we are left with museum and zoological parks. Now museum basically have remains of animals and plants. They are asking about the protection of animals. So in an artificial habitat. So zoological parks, they are artificial habitats only. They are artificial habitats that stimulate their natural habitat. So the animals are protected in the zoological parks in an artificial habitat that is similar to their natural habitat. So zoological park is the correct answer. Now in this question, bacteria that are saprotrophs, that is, they feed on dead organisms. What are saprotrophs? They feed on dead organisms. So bacteria that are saprotrophs but can be a parasite. Can be a parasite. What are parasite? They feed on living organism. Or you can say they derive nutrition from living organism. Now parasites can be ectoparasites, that is if they are present on the body surface, and they can be endoparasites if they are present inside the body, but they derive the nutrition from a living organism. So question is, bacteria that are saprotrophs but can be parasite and cause disease upon introduction to the host are called. Now we have to understand two words before this, obligate and facultative. Whenever we say obligate, it means compulsory. So for example, if a bacteria is obligatory anaerobe, that means that the bacteria is compulsory anaerobic, that is, it survives without oxygen, and if it is given oxygen, it cannot survive. And when we say facultative, facultative means it can, if it is in a situation, it can do that also. So facultative. So when we say facultative aerobic, for example, we say facultative aerobic. Facultative aerobic means that bacteria is anaerobic, but it can be aerobic in the presence of oxygen. Facultative aerobic, that means it can be. Facultative means it can be. So here they are asking that the bacteria are saprotrophs, but it can be a parasite, that is facultative parasite. So the correct option is facultative parasite. Facultative means it can be. Generally it is saprotroph, but it can be a parasite. So it is facultative parasite. Now, which of the following changes do not occur during conversion of a secondary follicle into tertiary follicle? Do not occur. Now, what happens is, there are follicle growth and development occurring inside ovary. So the primary follicle gets converted into secondary follicle. There is development of a granulosa layers. The secondary follicle gets converted into tertiary follicle. There is development of more granulosa layers. The size increases. The theca layer differentiates into external and internal theca, and there is a production of a fluid filled cavity called antrum. Okay, and what happens is that the primary oocyte that is present in the primary follicle is arrested in the prophase stage of meiosis 1. But when the secondary follicle is converted into tertiary follicle, it completes its first meiosis. Okay, and it forms a secondary oocyte and a small polar body. Now let us see the options. Development of antrum. So development of antrum, what is antrum? It is a fluid filled cavity. Fluid filled cavity. So when secondary follicle converts into tertiary follicle, there is development of antrum. So development of antrum is present, but they are asking that does not occur. So this is present. Now differentiation of theca layers, definitely I said that the theca layer or the outer layers are differentiated into theca externa and theca interna. So this also occurs. Now the primary oocyte completes meiosis 1. This also happens. The primary oocyte that is present in the previous follicles is arrested in the prophase stage of meiosis 1. When the secondary follicle gets converted into tertiary follicle, the primary oocyte present inside it completes the first meiosis and forms a secondary oocyte and a small polar body. So this also happens. The last option, second polar body, is released. It is not released. So this is the correct option. Now in this question, oogamous type of sexual reproduction is found in oogamous. Oogamous is a condition of syngamous, anisogamous type. Oogamous is a type of anisogamous conditions. In oogamous, male and female gametes are different in size. That is, the female gamete is larger than male gamete. Number 1. And motility is also, the female gamete is immobile and the male gamete is motile. So the male gamete is motile. So this is the oogamous type of sexual reproduction. Now this is seen in both Chlamydomonas and Volvox. Both of them show oogamous type of sexual reproduction. So answer 4th, both 1 and 2 is our correct option. Oogamous is not seen in Spirogyra. Now in which of the following plants both pollen grains and seeds have a wing shaped structure? Now it is a characteristic feature of a type of plant in which the pollen grains have wings. What do these wings do? These wings basically help in dispersion of the pollen grains to a larger area before it sits on the reproductive part of the female reproductive part of the flower. Okay, so it helps in dispersion. Now this type of pollen grains are a characteristic feature of pines. So Pinus is the answer. Now in the next question they are asking, in chloroplast the site of initial photochemical reaction is. Now chloroplast, as we all know, is the site of photosynthesis. In chloroplast there are these sac-like structures which are called thylakoids. These are the sites where the initial photochemical reaction takes place. The dark reaction takes place in the stroma and the light reaction or the photochemical reaction takes place in the thylakoids membrane. So the membrane of the thylakoids, because they have chlorophyll which absorbs the light. So the thylakoid membrane is the site where initial photochemical reaction takes place. Now in this question, they are asking in which of the following enzyme non-protein part is heme. Now when we talk about an enzyme, there is a prosthetic group that is attached to the enzyme. The prosthetic group is an organic molecule that is very tightly attached to the enzyme and helps in the functioning of the enzyme. Okay, so they are asking that in which of the following enzyme the non-protein part or the prosthetic part is heme. Now in carbonic anhydrase, the prosthetic group is zinc. In peroxidase, the prosthetic group is heme. In catalase, the prosthetic group is heme. So in both peroxidase and catalase, the prosthetic group is heme. So answer is fourth, both 2 and 3. Now next question. S.L. Miller gave the experimental proof of the theory of chemical evolution. Which chemical substance were obtained by him during the experiment? Now it is a very famous experiment done by Urey and Miller called the Urey and Miller experiment, in which they stimulated or they created an environment in the lab which was similar to the conditions of Earth before. Like Earth had a reducing environment before, which was full of gases like methane, hydrogen, water vapor and ammonia. They created a similar environment in a laboratory, in a flask, and passed electricity to it to stimulate the lightning, and they saw the formation of amino acids. So amino acid is the correct option. Now the question is, tubulin protein is synthesized in which phase of the cell cycle? Now when we talk about the cell cycle, most of the part of the cell cycle is interphase. What is interphase? Interphase is that phase of the cell cycle before mitosis or cell division, during which the cell grows in size and prepare itself for cell division. So it is the preparatory phase and covers the major part of the cell cycle. So interphase has 3 phases: G1 phase, S phase and G2 phase, in which G1, S and G2 phase, in which there is the growth of the cell, the formation or the replication of the DNA and the formation of the new proteins. All these takes place during interphase. So there is G1 phase, there is S phase, then there is G2 phase, and then there is M phase or the mitosis phase. So they are asking the tubulin protein is synthesized in. So proteins are synthesized in the interphase to prepare the cell for mitosis. So interphase is the correct option. Now because rest of the other options, prophase, metaphase and telophase, are parts of the mitosis, M phase. Okay, so the other phases in the M phase, and interphase is the correct option. Now which of the following is not common between facilitated transport and active transport? We have already discussed before in a previous question that facilitated transport is a passive transport, wherein the molecules move from their higher concentration to their lower concentration with the help of a carrier protein. Okay, and in active transport, the molecules move from their lower concentration to their higher concentration. So that is uphill. So which of the following is not common between facilitated and active transport? So that is uphill transport. It is not common. Now if we read the other options, both the transport are highly selective. Yes, because they use the carrier proteins for transportation. Transport saturates. Yes, because the proteins or the glycoproteins in the membrane that act as carrier proteins are limited, so it can saturate. And requirement of the special membrane proteins, yes, which are called carrier proteins. So all these 3 things are common, but this is the wrong statement. So this is the correct option. Now, all of the following statements are correct about homologous organs except. Now, what are homologous organs? Homologous organs are those organs that have or share a common ancestry. So, they share a common ancestry, so they are similar in structure, but they have different functions because these species have moved on to different places. They have diverged. So, it's a divergent kind of evolution in which, due to difference in habitat, these structures look different and they perform different functions, but they have similar internal structures. Okay, like wings of birds and the forelimbs of vertebrates are example of homologous organs. Why? Because if you see the internal structure, the bones are the same, humerus, radius and ulna, in wings of birds and the forelimbs of vertebrates, but they perform different functions because of the change in their habitat. There is divergent evolution, that there is a common origin, but they have diverged. So, homologous organs share common origin, which is correct. Homologous organs perform the same function, incorrect. Homologous organs show divergent evolution, yes. And members having homologous organs share common ancestor. All of them are correct except this. So, this is our correct option because we have to mark the incorrect statement. Now, the next question is the product of light reaction in green algae is. Now, the light reaction is a part of photosynthesis that takes place in the thylakoids of the chloroplast, the thylakoid membrane, and it results in the production of energy in the form of ATP and NADH, so that this energy can be used for other processes to form food. So, the product of light reactions in green algae is NADP and ATP. So, first is the correct option. NADPH, H plus and ATP. So, this is the correct option. Now, identify the disease which is characterized by the following symptoms. Now, you have been given the symptoms of a disease and you have to identify the disease. Now, the symptoms are, there is alveoli filled with fluid. So, the alveoli, which are air sacs, small air sacs present in the lungs, are filled with fluid. Fevers, chills and headache and coughing. Now, if you see the options, pneumonia, diphtheria, smallpox and hepatitis. If we start from here, hepatitis is a viral infection which affects the liver, and if we read the symptoms correctly, they all respond to something related to the respiratory system. So, this cannot be our answer. Then smallpox also is a viral infection in which there are rashes all over the body. So, this cannot be our answer. Then we are left with pneumonia and diphtheria. Both are related to respiratory system. Okay, and in both we can see, in both diphtheria and pneumonia, we can see fever, chills, headache and coughing. They are common symptoms. But there is a main symptom that is given, alveoli are filled with fluid. Now, pneumonia is a condition in which the alveoli are filled with fluid, which results in difficulty in breathing. Okay, so pneumonia is the correct answer. Next question. Primary acceptor in the TCA cycle is. Now, what is TCA cycle? TCA cycle is tricarboxylic acid cycle. Tricarboxylic acid cycle, also known as citric acid cycle or Krebs cycle. It is called citric acid cycle because the first stable product form is citric acid. Now, the acceptor or the primary acceptor is oxaloacetate. This oxaloacetate combines with acetyl coenzyme A to form citrate. That is why it is called citric acid cycle. So, the primary acceptor in TCA cycle is oxaloacetate. Now, which of the following shows plasticity? Now, what is plasticity? Plasticity is a process or it's a phenomenon seen in plants wherein the plants can change their morphology to adapt to a particular environment. Like, for example, the morphology of leaves in a young plant can be different from the morphology of leaves in an adult plant. This is called heterophily, which is a form of plasticity. Hetero means different and phily means leaves. So different types or different shape of leaves in plants depending upon their habitat to adapt to their surrounding. Now, options are cotton, silk cotton, neem, and more than one option is correct. So cotton is our correct answer, because in cotton plants, the juvenile cotton plants or the young plants have different shapes of leaves and the adult plants have different shapes of leaf. So they are an example of heterophily. This is done to adapt to their environment. Now heterophily is a form of plasticity. So cotton is the correct option. Now, which of the following is not true about the stomach in humans? We have to answer the incorrect statement. Esophagus opens in the cardiac part of the stomach. Yes, the upper part of the stomach, this part is the cardiac part where the esophagus opens into the stomach. Pepsin is the proteolytic enzyme of stomach. Yes, proteolytic means breaking down of protein. So pepsin breaks down the protein, which is correct. Renin is a proteolytic enzyme in gastric juice of infants, which is also correct. Renin is an enzyme that breaks down protein in infants. Which kind of protein? Milk proteins. Okay, milk proteins. The last option is the secretion of gastric glands does not have lipase, which is incorrect. Gastric gland secretion contains some amount of gastric lipase. So the fourth option is the correct option. Now this question, which of the following organism is not correctly matched with its respiratory organ? First, read the options. Earthworm have moist cuticle, aquatic mollusk have gills, frogs have pulmonary and cutaneous respiration, and flatworms gills. So if we see the options, earthworms definitely have a moist cuticle on their body surface which help in respiration. So this is correct. Mollusk or any aquatic animals have gills in their body for respiration. So this is also correct. Frogs are amphibians, that is they can survive on land as well as water. When they are in water, they respire through gills, and when they are on land, they respire through their moist skin. So frogs, pulmonary and cutaneous means the surface, skin. So this is the correct option. Then last one is flatworms, and they have marked it with gills. So flatworms are basically platyhelminthes, and in invertebrates, these gills are not present. They respire through their general body surface by diffusion. General body surface. So the incorrect is D. So this is our correct answer. Now the question is, from the given list, how many are not associated with asexual reproduction? Asexual reproduction is when there is no fusion of gametes to form a new organism. Like for example, this type of reproduction is not associated with sugarcane, ginger, maize, barley, tobacco, pea, sunflower, potato and bryophyllum. Now ginger, maize, barley, tobacco and pea and sunflower. Ginger, sugarcane, bryophyllum and potato show asexual reproduction, but maize, barley, tobacco, pea and sunflower do not show asexual reproduction. So there are 5 plants. So the correct option is 3. Next question is, amoebic dysentery is caused by. Now amoebic dysentery, as the name suggests, is caused by a protozoan called Entamoeba histolytica. Entamoeba histolytica. It is a protozoan that causes amoebic dysentery, in which with this protozoan can enter through our food and it can infect. It is a parasite, so it can live in our intestine and harm our body So the symptoms are generally like blood in stools. So stools, there is blood present in the stools. So this disease is caused by entamoeba histolytica. There can be abdominal cramps, abdominal pain associated with it. Minerals required for germination of pollen grain on stigma is. Now we know that when a pollen grain land on stigma, that is the female reproductive part, this pollen grains germinates into a pollen tube from where the male gametes from the pollen grain travel in this pollen tube to reach the ovary. So the germination of the pollen tube requires minerals like calcium and boron. So the answer is calcium and boron. They are required for the germination of the pollen grain to form pollen tube. Grasshopper is an example of what kind of sex determination? XY, XO, environmental sex determination and Gini sex balance theory. So the answer is XO type of sex determination, wherein the male is XO and the female is XX. So the male decides the sex of the newborn. Now, question is, Monascus purpuris is used commercially in the production of. Now, what is Monascus purpuris? It is a fungus. It is a yeast. This yeast is used commercially in the production of something known as statins. These statins are substances that lower your blood cholesterol level. So, they lower your blood cholesterol level. So statin is the correct option. Now in the next question they are asking amphetamines and caffeines are. Now substances can be stimulant and depressant of the CNS, the central nervous system. Okay, whether they are stimulant or depressant. Now we all know caffeine, we all drink coffee, so it is a stimulant, and amphetamines are also substances that stimulate the central nervous system. So these both are stimulant. So the correct answer is the third option. Both of them are stimulant. They stimulate or activate the central nervous system. Which of the following is not haploid? Not haploid means they are asking simply which is diploid. So primary spermatocyte. In the previous question, I drew the diagram wherein I showed that the primary spermatocyte is a diploid structure and it arises from spermatogonia. So first there is spermatogonia, which give rise to primary spermatocyte. Primary spermatocyte. Both of them are diploid, which undergo meiosis to form secondary spermatocyte. Secondary spermatocyte. Which is haploid. So primary spermatocyte and spermatogonia both are diploid. So first and the second option both are diploid. So fourth is the correct answer, both 1 and 2. Now the next question. Select the correct statement. We have to mark the correct statement. Let's read the options first. First option, population of India has crossed 1 million in May 2000. Now India is a very vast country and 1 million means 10 lakh people. So it cannot be true, of course. Second option is cervical caps and vaults both are barrier methods of contraception. Barrier methods are those methods of contraception that do not allow the sperm and ovum to meet. Okay. So cervical caps and vaults, yes, there are barrier methods of contraception. This is correct. And another barrier method of contraception used by males commonly is condoms. So all of them are barrier methods of contraception. Third, Saheli is a 1 month pill. No, Saheli is a weekly pill. It's a pill, contraceptive pill which is given weekly. Fourth, Government of India has legalized MTP Act in 1981. Now what is MTP? MTP means medical termination of pregnancy. Medical termination of pregnancy. Now, medical termination of pregnancy was legalized by the government in 1971. You have to remember this. So, 1981 is the correct option and is the wrong option, and we have to select the correct option. So, second option is our answer. Now, we have to mark the correct pair. Migration with polar bear, diapause with desert lizard, diapause with zooplanktons, and suspend with locusts. Now all of these phenomena are basically adapted by animals to survive in unfavorable conditions. Now if we see the second option, diapause and zooplanktons. Zooplanktons are basically microscopic animals which show diapause. Diapause is what? It is arrested development. When the zooplanktons are in unfavorable conditions or in stressful conditions, they reduce their metabolic activity of the body. So, their development is arrested. Such a condition is called diapause. What is diapause? Arrested development in stressful conditions, in unfavorable stressful conditions. And they can resume once the conditions come back. When the favorable conditions come back, they can go back to normal. But it is a form of arrested development wherein they reduce the metabolic activity of their body. Reduce the metabolic activity of their body. So this is the correct option, correctly matched. Now the next question is, Abingdon tortoise became extinct on the Galapagos Island within a decade of the introduction of the goat. This is an example of resource partitioning, competitive release, competitive exclusion, and interference competition. Now what happened in this condition when these goats were introduced in the Galapagos Islands? The Abingdon tortoise, who were already inhabitant of those islands, became extinct within 10 years of the introduction of the goats. Why this happened? Because Abingdon tortoise are herbivores. Their main source of nutrition is the grass or the plants, and goats are also herbivores. So the main source of nutrition are also plants. So in both the cases, they are fighting for a limited resource for nutrition. But because the browsing power of goats was more, okay, so they have a greater browsing power. So they overpowered Abingdon tortoise, which then later, after some time, after a decade, became extinct. So this is the principle of competitive exclusion based on a law called Gauss law, G-A-U-S-E, Gauss law. The Gauss law, according to Gauss law, two species cannot coexist in a habitat if they are fighting for a same limited resource. So the density of their population can never be stable. Okay, so they could not coexist, and finally the Abingdon tortoise after 10 years became extinct. So this is an example of competitive exclusion. Now the next question is, radula is found in, and what does it help in? Okay, so radula is a characteristic feature found in mollusk. It is a rasping structure, just looks like a tongue. It is a rasping structure which has teeth, small teeth like structures on it, which helps in cutting down the food particles and then that food particles are taken up by the esophagus. So they are rasping structures which help in feeding and are characteristic features of mollusk. So radula are present in mollusk and they are responsible for feeding. So the first option is our correct option. Now the next question, limit of the environment to support a population is called. See, environment has a limit, has a number up to which it can support a population. That is because the resources available in an environment are limited. Resources like food, water, so it can only sustain a certain number of population. That is called the carrying capacity of the environment. Okay, so what is the carrying capacity? It is the limit of the environment or a limit of a population that the environment can sustain because it has limited resources. Okay, so if the population becomes more than the carrying capacity of the environment, then lesser and lesser resources will be available to the population for survival. So the carrying capacity is the correct answer.